is intended to introduce the Missouri Botanical Garden's DNA bank, raise awareness of it as an available resource to assist with molecular systematics research, and also discuss some of the methodological issues that we've discovered relating to the operation of a successful DNA bank. The bank includes currently over 11,000 fully accessioned leaf samples of material preserved in silica gel, including 368 families and over 2,500 genera. So far, we've received 240 some requests for over 2,200 samples. So we've given out a number of samples equivalent to about 1/5 of the total collection. Still, we think that more awareness of this resource would increase usage. As sequencing becomes cheaper, increasingly obtaining the material for studies, the plant material, is going to become the most expensive, challenging, and rate-limiting step, especially because many of the critical taxa that have not yet been included in phylogenetic studies are found in remote areas where it may be difficult to do field work. So, for example, the Missouri Botanical Garden's top 3 included countries among the samples in the DNA bank are the United States, unsurprisingly, and then Madagascar and New Caledonia, where we have active research programs. Now, one of the issues that we've noticed that can really hamper the function of these DNA banks is that there is both a geographic bias and a taxonomic bias. So each of the major large collecting institutions has a geographic area of focus, and we also have staffers that have particular interests, and the samples in the DNA bank tend to track staff interests. So 5 of our top 6 angiosperm families are families for which we have experts on staff. And likewise, we have huge bryophyte collections, whereas New York Botanical Garden similarly has enormous representations of certain families for which they have experts on staff, including gymnosperms. So the concern is that no combination of these DNA banks is going to adequately represent.
Hold on. Pause.
Yeah. Okay.
And then just pick up at adequately.
Okay. The concern is that no combination of DNA banks may adequately represent the taxonomic variety that needs to be collected and included in systematic studies. So it's very important that collectors who intend to donate material to DNA banks in future do a better job of collecting not just material that's of interest to their own colleagues, but material of all possible families. We also discussed briefly in this poster some of the other methodological issues, including deciding in what form to offer material, deciding what sorts of samples will be accepted under what circumstances. The Missouri Botanical Garden has a document online to help people collect high-quality samples, for example, and how to deal with the legal issues. It's very important that any restrictions imposed by the initial collecting and export permits be permanently respected. And that's one reason why all of the material in our DNA bank is available only for evolutionary studies or systematic studies. Nothing for commercial uses is allowed. And that's just to make sure that we don't run afoul of any of those permitting conditions. Financial support is another issue. We make material available for a nominal fee, and we waive that fee for students and others who have no financing available. So the DNA bank has not been self-supporting in the past, and that means that staffing is limited and there's always a backlog of unaccessioned samples. So this is something that institutions wanting to run a DNA bank have to take into account. So to make this resource maximally useful, we'd like to encourage more public awareness and ask people both to donate samples and vouchers and to request samples.